can't ignore the fact that a lot of people in these day and time are really confused. They have lost the ability to think logically and constantly make a fool of themselves. But there are certain times men don't hold back from woke people.
How would you feel?
Yes.
If you're selling your home, you've got a home that you know,
right?
And you put upgrades in it, and you know your home is worth $500,000.
Yeah.
And somebody comes into your home, and they see your photos,
right?
And they see your family, and then they go back and they go $350,000. You go, what the hell?
So you tell that story.
Wait, one second.
To get people to be convinced that that's happening.
It's actually
out of 1,000 appraisals.
Oh my God.
Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times does that happen? When you ask the question, what do you do if they appraise your house $350,000 less? Right? That's your question. Okay. I don't see myself as a victim. I stopped looking at myself as a victim a long time ago. And by the way, being Armenian and Assyrian, you know what a lot of people in the Armenian community do? You know what a lot of people in the Armenian community do? They sell victimhood mentality. I'm raised with that, which is the statement of mechka. I know you don't know what the word mechka means. Mechka means, oh, poor Roland, oh, poor PBD. I don't see myself as a victim. And the other part is when you use one story as an example to divide and get people even angrier because out of 1,000 appraisals this happened one time, I don't think you're unifying when you say a statement like that to say, hey, this is what's taking place.
Some people find racism in everything.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am. Take it outside. If you want to call me sir again, I will show you, sir.
Well, that's not very ladylike. These men claiming to be women are so angry for no reason.
And I wonder if you would like to kind of backtrack or apologize on characterizing the CRTC as a small group of privileged insiders closest to the Prime Minister. And I would also ask him if he would like to define the word woke. I asked one of his colleagues as well for that definition, and I'd like to see what he has to say. Thank you.
You're of the opposition.
Actually, I will backtrack. It is a big group of insiders, Madam Speaker. It is a big, sprawling bureaucracy with far too many people working for it. There will be less people working for the CRTC when I'm Prime Minister because they'll have less power and they'll have a hell of a lot less to do when I restore freedom of speech and freedom of expression online and on the internet. And as for the definition of woke, woke has one purpose, only one purpose. Plenty of pretexts, but only one purpose: control. It is designed to divide people by race, by gender, by ethnicity, by religion, by vaccine status, and any other way that they can divide people into groups. Because why? Then you can justify having a government to control all those groups. No more woke.
And I remember when woke meant you were actually woke to the BS that is consistently force-fed to us.
Did you just assume my gender? You said white man.
Okay, I see your point there.
How do you know I'm not a woman?
I see your point. I see your point.
You need to check your white privilege, your white female privilege.
It's definitely hilarious when woke people get owned by their own logic.
Abortion, people get raped, people get incest, and it's crazy traumatic situations. And it's very hard for a human to ask a human, "Oh, keep that baby." That is impossible.
Do you think it's hard to? Do you think it's hard to ask someone, "Hey, don't murder an innocent person," even if you want to, even if that would be convenient? Because that's what we're saying about.
Because our fundamental beliefs are different. I don't think it's murder. I think it's that thing in the baby, not the baby, but the uterus.
You just said
that
it.
Is not,
I think you just admitted that I'm right. You that's called a Freudian slip, and I think you just proved the point.
Chill out. But the thing in the uterus is not a baby. That's what I was trying to say. It's just a clump of cells. It's a tumor. Okay.
It's a tumor.
And trying to be like, it's a baby. We just have fundamentally different belief systems, and I don't believe that. No, I don't think it's murder. It's not murder.
Right, but the baby unlike a tumor, say, the baby in the womb, it has the DNA of an individual human being that's different from the DNA of the mother, and the baby in the womb has all the characteristics of human life, and the baby in the womb grows at a very early stage, grows to take on the form of an individual human being, and the baby in the womb left unmurdered will grow into a full adult-sized human being just like you are. So that would seem to be a difference between the baby in the womb and the cancerous tumor. So you're saying, well, I just don't believe that, but you obviously do believe that because you just admitted it because you called the baby a baby. You don't want to acknowledge that reality because it's inconvenient. And I'm not I'm not denying that there are inconveniences in the world, and there's suffering, and there are all sorts of difficult decisions that people have to make, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a right and a wrong answer, and it doesn't even mean that you don't know what it is, because you've admitted that you know what it is.
So when they have friends that are in early pregnancy and want to keep it, do they say congratulations on your tumor?
And what's the biggest problem? Men can't find the what? G-spot, the clit, the urethra. What school did you go to? That's what I say when I find the G-spot. Eureka! I got it! The prostate gland. The clit. Why? Why, ladies? Why? Because I'm an idiot? Because you're an idiot. Maybe because you're a bitch and we don't want to fucking please you. Maybe that. Maybe we're tired of these bitchy women. We're like, we know where it is. But we're tired of being called idiots. Yeah, you fucking idiot. You fucking idiot. Where's the urethra? Where is it? Get it. Fucking bitch. White guy, look at us.
That escalated quickly. The best way to handle people like this.
Bradford, in your testimony, did I understand you right? Said that you want to end all plastic manufacturing?
I said the plastics industry must be stopped.
So does that mean end plastic manufacturing?
I mean, in my dream world, sure, but I think that, go ahead.
I don't mean to be condescending here. I'm just pointing out, what's going to replace your glasses? Like,
so
I
do
wear your
know
glasses around your face. They're made of plastic.
Maybe.
No,
I don't know what they're made out of.
They are. Because I just want to be realistic when we're having conversations. Because when statements are made like this, I just want to open people's eyes. That's easy to say, but what's the solution? Your water bottle in front of you.
This one?
Yes. That plastic?
No.
The lid is. That's plastic.
Right. So
Right.
I would say to your question that I would first be concerned about single-use plastics, and then we can talk about alternatives to this.
Your cell phone there, is it plastic?
The cases. But it's glass because
The water that you filled that water bottle up with, where'd you fill that water bottle up out of?
A water filling station.
All right, and it was delivered by a drink station that was plastic?
I didn't check.
The edges are. The piping coming to it. Now, you have a couple of choices with the piping. We could go back to using wood, but then you have to line it in chemical. Or we could go back and use lead, because we used to have water piping that was lead. That was harmful to us. We go back to galvanized, but galvanized rust and had discoloration. We go back to copper, but copper has to be mined, and everybody wants to stop mining in the U.S. I point this out because the clothes you have on, I guarantee you have plastic in it. The shoes you have on your feet, the soles of those shoes are plastic. So we talk about any plastic manufacturing, and everybody in here cheers when you say that, but everybody here is depending on plastic as you set. So if you want to end it, then quit using it. It's kind of like, I don't shop at certain places right now because I don't agree with some of their...
Those with the least knowledge tend to have the strongest opinions based on nothing and yell the loudest.
What happens in California if you murder a pregnant woman?
What?
What do you get charged with if you murder a pregnant woman in California?
I'm not even sure what you're talking about.
It's called a double homicide. That baby's still in the stomach, so wouldn't abortion be murder at that point?
I don't even know what you're talking about, honestly, man. I think you're just throwing out stuff on Twitter.
Once someone is exposed as being intellectually dishonest, there's no further reason to communicate with them.
There was another tweet that said the Democratic Party is comprised of racist white liberals.
That is correct.
Am I a racist white liberal?
Well, let's go back. I will say this, that many people in the party are not aware of their own racism. Let's go back to an early part of this conversation where you said to me, are you concerned about the color in the White House? Why would you ask me that question?
Because you speak about black issues.
No, but why would you ask me? But let's get to really the nucleus of this. Why did you ask me that question today?
Because you're bringing a whole group of young African American leaders to the White House.
Okay, so this is something that I talk about often, is that in many ways, what liberals don't realize that you put on that, the racism and the conversations that we have.
So you're saying I'm a racist?
You haven't let me finish my statement. You keep cutting me off.
Go ahead.
Okay. The emphasis that you place is always on having a discussion about race. Okay. You guys are insistent on having a conversation about race and telling us that we should see. If you don't look at me according to the color of my skin, you would simply ask me how I thought that Trump was doing as a president. You try to drum up a conversation that's surrounded by race by asking me, are there enough black people in the White House?
You're bringing a whole group of young black leaders to the the
see
White House.
color,
So
I
clearly
don't.
That's something that's important to you.
But why are you talking
but
about?
Then why make it that you're going to bring young black leaders to the White House? I mean, this is
Because
sort of
you
absurd.
say that because the media, as in the whole.
This is absurd. You're bringing this group to the White House.
It's not absurd.
Just so I'm clear.
I'm trying to be extremely clear with you.
I know.
It's
But
to
you
the
view
White
me
House.
as a racist white
I think
liberal.
that you're not. First off, you put those words in my mouth, and you keep saying
No, you
it.
do.
So I said that the Democrat Party is comprised of racist white liberals. Is every person in the party racist? No, but that you put these racist tones out into the media. This is why we have to bring the black conservatives to the president, because you create a narrative when you're on TV like you did today.
I have questions for you as well, but we actually have to get out of the
Do
segment
you
now.
think that language is helpful, though? I mean, just in terms of the national conversation.
Well, I could
because
ask you, do you think it's
have-
helpful to ask me, just because I'm a black woman, if I'm comfortable with the amount of color that's on the administration? Do you think that that's helpful?
I think it's helpful and introspective.
It's not. It's you just trying to
I'm
create
interested
an
in your perspective.
undertone that Donald
You're
Trump
bringing-
is racist, and it's
No,
wrong.
no. But I just want to say, I just want to say,
you're looking at me on the basis of my skin color, and make a bunch of deductions. I did not. You said that, and we can run the tape
But
back.
I want to say,
You said
look,
that.
here's what I want to say.
You quoted, but you were not added in that tweet, so do not say
I'm
that
a
I called you that,
Democrat.
because that's
When you say
dishonest,
the right
and we are on
liberals,
TV, so you
you're
can
calling
run.
me a racist.
Okay, so I did not call you a racist. You're using the typical leftist tactic of trying to make yourself a victim, which is not something that I would accept.
No, but we're actually.
And this interview left that female host fired. She sure does regret trying to constantly speak over Candace.
Do you think my outfit is offensive?
Are you Mexican?
No.
Yes.
I think it reaffirms stereotypes that are offensive to people.
It's not yours.
Do you find my outfit offensive?
Yes. Yeah.
Why?
Because it's not your culture. You don't really understand what their culture means and what it means to wear these things, like the hats and the maracas. You sort of have to understand where all of this comes from for it to not be cultural appropriation.
Does my outfit offend you?
You look no. You look nice.
Do you like my costume?
Yes.
Does it offend you?
No.
Do you like my outfit?
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Does my outfit offend you?
No, not at all.
No, nothing.
Let's see it. At this point, I think a lot of people who are woke just want a reason to be offended.
Do you think there could be a gay James Bond?
Hopefully the whole world rolled their eyes the way he did to that ridiculous question.
I don't want you to hate me for being white, but I don't want you to like me for being white. Why are these the only two options? Jesus. Okay, well, if I have to pick a side, I'm gonna go with you guys, because at least your heart is in the right place. I'm just kidding. It's because you control all of film and television. That's why I'm over here. But when you find my old tweets, I'll be calling you. Yes, I will. Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you can still comfortably tour the Midwest. That's what it's.
It's a great joke because it's true.
Looks like he's having a nice feast. She, her. Yeah, it's okay. It's all good. Hi. I use she, her pronouns. I'm not sir. Yeah, like it's like a knife in the heart. I did specifically ask ahead of time not to be called sir. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. Okay, the Sweetwater starts at okay.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
It's just always like a knife. It always hurts every single time.
I was wondering if there's a manager I could talk to about something that happened. Yeah, I was called sir. Oh, okay. It just really sucks every time it happens. I don't need to be called ma'am. I just need to not be called sir. You know? Did you call me sir? Hey, I just want to tell you that the person who gave me this called me sir. It's just like it kind of hurts a lot to get called sir.
Very good. Thank you so much. No, dude. Oh, yeah. Thank you. I'm not a sir. Nothing like a good misgendering. It is a knife in the gut when I get called sir. I feel like I need to tell him. I need to tell him that hurt. It hurts more though when it's not intentional, because it means like this is sir to him. I know you didn't mean it, but I'm not a sir. It's okay. I know you didn't mean it. It's just, it hurts. I know when people clock me, it's fine, but like it doesn't hurt. Thank you. I'm not sir. Not sir. Not sir. But the guy who dropped the food off, he called me sir twice in a row.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I think they need to have a good reality check that no matter how pretty they dress, the world still sees them as men.
Boys are boys from the beginning. If you were born a boy, you stay a boy. Girls are girls right from the start. If you were born a girl, you stay a girl and grow up to be a lady. Only girls can be the mommies. Only boys can be the daddies, yes.
It's very simple. We need more people who can talk more simple truths.
At some point, somebody's truth has to win. Because guess what? Your truth doesn't matter. That's still a truth
You've
claim.
had your truth in this country for the past thousands of decades.
Thousands of decades?
Not thousands. Whatever. My bad. That's a little embarrassing. But like your truth has been the narrative of this country forever.
Has
and
it?
you think
Roe
yes,
versus
the
Wade
white
just
straight
got
male
repealed.
truth.
Abortion was legal in this country for 40 years.
And before the 40 years, what was and crime dropped?
Thankfully illegal in
40%
most
after it went. On top of that,
Oh wait, hold on. Do you think abortion lowers crime rates?
crime dropped 40% after abortion became legal.
Why is that the case?
It's called a statistic.
Who has the most abortions in America?
Women.
Black people. Is that so? Are you trying to say the termination of blacks in the womb lower crime? That's a very racist argument.
That is not okay.
You know,
actually,
I can't hear you. You gotta come on.
Okay, but there's a reason. There has to be
like. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I'm with you on everything.
Okay. Yeah.
She learned more in that exchange than she did all school year.
My next guest, who is Shivani Dave. She is a journalist and a presenter at Virgin Radio, just down the corridor. Good afternoon to you, Shivani.
Good afternoon, Julia.
Thanks.
You know my pronouns are they, them. How are you doing?
Yeah. Thank you for telling me your pronouns. I use correct grammar, so the only thing I would need to refer you to is to your face would be you. But I'm not being rude. You can choose your pronouns. You can choose what you want to call yourself, but you don't get to require me to use incorrect grammar and factually incorrect things. You're not a plural. You're a one person, and you're a female person. So I will use she and her. Thank you very much.
It's disrespectful when you have to derail every single conversation to promote your delusion.
Do you feel proud of yourself for debating college kids who are unprepared to speak in front of an audience like yourself? Do you think that's a little bit silly?
Are you a voter?
I am a voter. I'm a
So
registered
I
voter.
vote and you vote. So I'm talking to voters of this country that will determine the future of Western civilization. That's what I'm doing here today. Yeah? Wait, hold on. How is it any different than a professor talking to you?
Then a professor talking to you? Who are you?
Well, important enough for you to come up to a microphone.
Actually, when I first saw this ad, I thought it was like an improv comedy thing. It looked so ridiculous that I didn't even think it was real.
Well, no, you can see. Look how popular Trump is on your campus. How does that make you feel? That's not comedy. That is a 5-alarm fire for Kamala Harris, because she's probably going to lose Pennsylvania. But no, I just want to be clear. Is there something wrong with talking to voters?
She is trying so hard to land an insult. It's clearly her only objective, and Charlie dismantled every attempt.
Now,
Then
if
all
this
of the
had
right
happened
wing
and
is
it was
guilty,
flipped,
including you, Candace.
Cenk, you just
You're all
spoke for a
guilty.
very long
You've
time.
done 10,000 times worse than you know.
Control yourself. Cenk, you're going to have to learn how to control yourself. I know it's very difficult for you, but you just had a very long time to speak and we were quiet. I promise you can do that. You need to sit on your hands, then you should do that.
Imagine a grown man acting like a toddler on a show and getting schooled like a toddler. Ouch.
You matter too, though. But you matter too.
We do not appreciate being filmed for this.
Oh, he's not filmed. He identifies a camera. we just kind of. I'm glad it's funny to you.
It's just very confusing.
It's just very confusing. Yeah, exactly.
Peter, I just want to get one final thought from you. Are there words that are used to describe men that offend you?
Not particularly, and if there are some I don't like, I certainly wouldn't want them banned. But it always goes back to that old adage: sticks and stones may break my bones, but there will always be something to offend a feminist.
Peter Lloyd.
No, that's just obnoxious.
Peter
Sorry,
Lloyd,
you have to give me a chance to respond to that. That is ridiculous.
She must have been even more offended after she realized she was manipulated into proving his point, not womanipulated.
What's her greatest accomplishment as vice president?
Being the first female
all-black president. We've
That's-
never had that
No,
before.
like, I got that, but like, what's her accomplishment that made people's lives better?
I don't know. Vice presidents don't really do much, to be honest.
Can you name one thing she's done that's good?
No, probably not. That is an
As
amazing
of the timing of this filming, can you name me how many times she sat down for an interview?
I
Which
think
don't know
that
when
is
this
a
was.
very weird point to make.
Well,
why would
why
I
is it-
count how many times Kamala Harris
Is
has
it
had
zero?
an interview?
Because she refuses to take questions from the press and media? Like, shouldn't you do that if you're the sitting vice president?
You sat down to defend someone you know nothing about? Really?
A lot of your friends have made videos that were mocking me. I did not appreciate that. But I did see as well, you were mocking me from being of average height. I can't control that. I can't control my genetics. That wasn't very, you were mocking me. I did not appreciate that.
Asking my followers if I should wear heels tonight, and I did not.
I never mocked on her appearance, and there's plenty of subject matter there, believe me, but I never did it. So I didn't appreciate that.
I mean, there's no lie there.
To make the decisions about who and
What
how
has she
should
said
compete.
that's actually wrong?
I think that what she has done is try to turn this. We talked about people, using things to kind of get likes and get clicks.
That's not what she's doing. The thing to do is stand up for women's rights to fairness and equality.
But she has
she actually competed against Leah Thomas, and it was obviously unfair. Leah Thomas won one of the races in the NCAA championships by 50 seconds against a bunch of biological females who simply couldn't keep up. That cannot be right. It cannot be fair.
That is something that I think our sporting bodies should be dealing with. And by the way, Riley is speaking up for herself, and that is her prerogative, and I respect her free speech.
I think she's speaking up for pretty much every female athlete in the world.
I mean, wasn't that the point of Title IX? Title IX in the early 70s was something that was it was a major event in feminism, that we finally have this law that says at colleges, right, and I think high schools too, but definitely colleges, women's sports have to be given equal to men's sports, so that women aren't and this led to the WNBA and lots of other stuff. This seems to be the opposite of that. It seems to be so many instances, I think, where wokeness is the opposite of what I grew up as liberalism. Liberalism was, let's give the women an equal shot. This is let's put a male in the swimming pool with the women. I don't get it.
It's crazy. And meanwhile, trans people who genuinely want to compete at athletics and swimming or whatever it may be, they're the ones who are suffering here. They need to be found a way to compete fairly and justly.
Well, what's your answer then?
I think there's one or two answers. I think they either compete against their biological sex, as many of them did before, or you create an entirely new category for transgender athletes. And then they're able to compete fairly. But what you cannot do is continue to allow more and more trans athletes to start decimating women's records, in some cases, irrevocably.
So this politician is so intent on her agenda that she's dragging down a woman who's speaking up for women's rights.
Know that you're a woman.
Yes.
What is that?
A woman is somebody who is included and respected and seen and participates in society, recognized by other women. If you speak with women...
What I learned here is how to create a fake definition that benefit one's argument. He demonstrates this well.
Do you want to end all plastic manufacturing?
I said the plastics industry must be stopped.
So does that mean end plastic manufacturing?
I mean, in my dream world, sure, but I think that, go ahead.
No, so I don't mean to be condescending here. I just point out, what's going to replace your glasses? Like,
So
why
I
would you
do
wear your
know,
glasses around your face? They're made of plastic.
maybe.
No,
I don't know what they're made out of.
They are. What about, and I'm just pointing out some things here because I just want to be realistic when we're having conversations, because when statements are made like this, I just want to open people's eyes and say, well, okay, that's easy to say, but what's the solution? Your water bottle in front of you.
This one?
Yes. That plastic?
No.
The lid is. That's plastic.
Right. So
Right.
I would say to your
cell phone-
question that I would first be concerned about single-use plastics, and then we can talk about alternatives to this.
Your cell phone there. Is it plastic?
The cases. But it's glass because I broke
the components
the
inside of it
screen
not
yesterday.
plastic? The components made out of it?
Another idealistic person who has no sense of reality. Hey, man.
Men do not menstruate. Only women menstruate. Now, you can call yourself whatever you want.
Cis men don't menstruate, but trans men do menstruate.
No,
Same
they
as
don't.
non-binary people.
Only women.
Menstruating is not exclusive
Yes,
to
it
cis
is.
women. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
So explain to me as to why my body
if you are,
menstruated at
if
some
your
point
chromosomes are XX and you're young, you menstruate. If you're XY, you don't.
Correct, but what about trans men and non-binary?
They're
We're
not men.
excluding a whole group of people
They're women
that
dressed
menstruate.
as men.
Well, what's a man to you? You define a man for me.
You have chromosomes that are X and Y. That's what a man is.
So why are we just looking at the science of this as an
The
example
science.
when we've learned sex and gender identity are they're completely different things.
They're not completely
They
different
are
things.
completely different.
Completely different words.
Sex is what you're born with, the sexual reproductive organs you have. Gender is what you identify with. They're completely
Well, I don't
different
accept that
things.
distinction. You have to argue for it. You're just giving a conclusion. You're just making it up.
I wish my bank account would identify as a millionaire.
This is controversial for me to say, but I'm going to tell you what I think. I believe that transgenderism specifically is a mental health disorder. I believe it's a mental health condition.
Okay.
Well, no. We're going to finish this. This is good. We have to have open conversation in this country. But I don't think the thing to do.
Health disorder.
Well,
it's how they feel.
Well, let me. If I'm going to give you a chance to respond if you'd like, but we can't have an open debate in this country if we're not able to state our views.
That's how they feel.
That's how they feel. And you know what? I'll tell you a story, and you deserve to hear this. I met two young women in this race about 6 months ago. Their names were Chloe and Katie, two young women. They're in their 20s now. Both of them had their breasts cut off. One of them had her uterus removed.
Okay.
They're in their 20s. They regret that decision. One of them wants to have kids. She'll never have kids. The other one will never breastfeed her children. They'll never be the same because they had that done to them when they were teenagers. So no, when a young person shows up and says, my gender doesn't match my biological sex, they're asking for help.
But you just said 20. That's not
They happened to them when one girl was 13 when it happened to her. She's in her 20s now and regrets it. This is what's wrong in this country. We will look back at this and say this was barbaric that we allowed this to happen in this country. That is not compassion. That is cruelty.
She wasn't expecting, nor was she prepared to have a conversation. Like most activists, she only came to shout.
Down the front there, you who's 20, is your life better? Are you happier? Is everything better now that you're slightly smaller than you were before?
Absolutely, and I'm not a little bit smaller, I'm a lot smaller. Like, my question to you is, can you honestly say that you are 100% happy and healthy? Like, you have no medical conditions whatsoever, you have no problems at all with your health?
I think it's really interesting that I feel like I need to justify my existence in this room.
No, but hang on a minute. You asked her to justify her decision.
I asked her if she was happy. I didn't ask her to justify what her health issues now or if there is any.
But have you got any health issues?
No, I'm perfectly happy.
It isn't fat shaming, it's called being honest.
Are you familiar with that literature?
Well, yeah, I've read the book, but I don't remember anything about it. It was for like a college class. Like, let's be honest, nobody remembers the books they read in college.
Sounds like a great value proposition to go to college.
No, it is, trust me. But like, but you didn't go to college, so I guess you wouldn't know.
It's true, I didn't. So let me ask you though, does that mean that I'm not able to have this conversation with you? Because I actually remember the book and you didn't, and you paid for it.
This kid brags about going to college, shames someone for not going to college, then proves college is useless.
So I can't have an opinion on abortion because I don't have a uterus, but I can be a woman without one? Got it.
Of course, this statement would trigger those wakies who think they can identify as having a uterus.
That you
promote ends up with people dying because of it.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Because
that's a big deal. Talk about that.
Let's discuss that. Like, because you promote like this hate towards people like me and other trans people, and trans people get murdered because of the hate against them. So it's not just like a free speech thing. It's
Do you know what the murder rate of transgender people is?
Oh my God,
Let's talk about that data, because that's a claim that you'd make, and I'd like to explore that with you.
Okay, well, you know what? Off. Just off. This is harassment.
Okay, you made a claim. You made a claim, and we'd like to.
Otherwise, I'm just saying this should be considered.
Okay, so you have no evidence.
She literally walked towards them, made a false claim, get asked a question, and then say this is harassment.
You know what woke means? It means you're a loser. Everything woke. Everything woke. It's true. Everything woke turns to shit, okay?
Woke means a man can put on a dress and go into the woman's bathroom.
Be comfortable with. I have extreme compassion and empathy for people who struggle with gender dysphoria and that they do not like the bodies that they're in. I have extreme empathy and compassion for that, but that just because someone feels that way does not mean it's true. If an anorexic person is telling you that they hate their body, if they look in the mirror every day and they're like, I'm fat, a doctor does not just prescribe them diet pills. It's the same way. We should be teaching people that the body we're born in is the right body. God does not make mistakes. You have a beautiful body and you should embrace that, and you should love yourself for who you are. And regardless, you can't biologically and physically transition into a different gender. And so, like I said, I have extreme compassion.
You think Jesus really cares about whether or not you're transitioning? Is there one time in the Bible where Jesus
Many times. He made them man and woman.
Whoever struggles with body dysphoria, know this. You are born in the right body. You have to work on acceptance. You need a proper therapy.
You have to have a standard. You must be a biological boy to be a Boy Scout. You have to be a boy to be a Boy Scout. In the name Boy Scouts.
Boys have Boy Scouts. Girls have Girl Scouts. Really simple people.
Ziad, I use he, him pronouns, and I am Bangladeshi American.
And yeah, I just rolled my eyes. I'm glad the cameras caught it, because I was like, it's just a natural reaction. And there's a lot of people who said that was rude, done that, or you acted triggered. It's like, no, I didn't yell at him or, but the truth is the pronoun stuff is ridiculous, and I think ridiculous things need to be ridiculed, right?
We have two choices. Continue to let people with mental sickness run the place, or say enough in enough and take the world back.
I mean, you use Twitter.
Right.
Do you see a rise in hate speech?
I mean,
just a personal anecdote, like what do you? I don't.
Personally, for you, I would see I get more of that kind of content, yeah, personally. But I'm not going to talk to the rest of, for the rest of Twitter.
So you see more hate speech personally?
I would say I would see more hateful content in that.
Content you don't like or hateful? What do you mean to describe a hateful thing?
Yeah, I mean, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of things.
So you think if something is slightly sexist, it should be banned?
No,
is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying.
Well, I'm just curious. I'm trying to understand what you mean by hateful content, and I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't use. Honestly, I
you
don't.
Can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't actually use that for you feed anymore. Because I just don't particularly like it.
But you
said a lot of people are quite similar. I only look at
hang on a second. You said you've seen
following.
more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And
then how did you see the hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen for you hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying.
Then I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet, and yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well,
that's a false.
No, what I claimed.
You just lied.
What I claimed was there are many organizations that say that that kind of information is on the rise. Now, whether it has on my
Give me
feed
one
or
example.
not, I mean, right, and
Literally
you can
can't
look at
name
something
one.
like the Strategic Dialogue Institute in the UK. They will say that. So
look, people will say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a single example, and you can't name one.
Right, and as I already said, I don't use that feed. But
Well, then how would you know?
I don't think this is getting anywhere.
You literally said you experienced more hateful content, and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
that's absurd.
I haven't actually looked at that feed.
Then how would you know this hateful content?
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago. I can't give you an exact example. Let's move on. We only have a certain amount of time.
I know that this interviewer will wake up at 2 a.m. periodically for the rest of his life and think about this embarrassing moment.
So how would you define female?
Through my training in healthcare, there are several different categories for how we define sex. People bring up chromosomes. People also bring up hormone levels. People bring up all sorts of other categories. Lots of people don't fit neatly into a gender binary, even people we don't consider to be intersex. It's a complicated spectrum.
It's not complicated, but you also didn't define. So what is a woman? What is a female? What do these words mean?
It's complicated, and I know you're not going to like that answer, but that's because there are no simple answers in human biology.
Let me ask you a question.
You guys,
Can I ask you one last
hang
question?
on. Just let me finish. You guys like to bring up high school level biology classes a lot. I get that a lot, but people who go on to more complicated biology classes will talk about sex as a spectrum.
It's not. It's not.
Well, biological researchers would disagree with you.
Well, then they're full of shit, the ones that would say that. Look, there are male gametes and female gametes. You're an EMT.
Yes.
Okay, if you're responding to a health emergency. Biological male, somebody with a penis, is having a medical emergency. And they say to you, I think I'm having a miscarriage. Would you check them to see if they're having a miscarriage? Would you consider that a possibility for them?
Look. No, but that's because some people don't have body parts. Doesn't mean they're not.
This is the type of discussion that needs to be done more, and then some simple basic answers we can live by.
If abortion isn't murder, then why is it a double homicide when a pregnant woman is killed?
Wait, this is actually a good question. I've been asking the same thing.
Not women. Okay. What's your name?
Sam.
Nice to meet you. Let's define our terms. A woman is an adult female with XX chromosomes. You tell me, what is a woman?
I think a woman is somebody who identifies as a woman.
Got it. So that's not a definition. That's like saying a table is something that identifies as a table. Give me an objective definition of
No, it's not. A table is an object.
Well, tell how
a table can't identify as anything. It doesn't have
but
choice.
You have to give me an objective definition of what a woman is.
If I decided right now that I wanted to identify as a woman, I would be a woman.
Okay, but that doesn't answer the question.
I know, but right now I'm a man, right? So if that happened right now, I'd be a woman. So once a person makes the decision to identify as a woman,
got it. No,
they're a woman.
That's a separate issue. What is a woman?
That's the definition.
No, I know, but you have to tell me what.
A person who identifies themselves as a woman.
But you have to how do you know that they are that thing?
How do I don't need to know what they are. I can ask them if I want to know.
But there needs to be. You need to tell me what that thing is, though.
Somebody who. Okay, sorry, we're not getting anywhere. We're not getting anywhere.
Well, no, it's important because it's like saying a giraffe is a thing that looks like a giraffe, or a coyote is a thing that looks like a coyote. It's called circular reasoning. You have to give me a actual definition.
I don't have to. I did give you a definition.
No. You said that a woman is something that thinks they're a woman.
I also want to say that one of my best friends is trans, and I would say that she's more of a woman than I am. I think that women define themselves by multiple things, not just their sex organs. If somebody asked me who I was as a woman, I would not say I have a vagina.
Totally fair.
I would.
No, I think you said something smart. So you said that person is more of a woman than you are. Therefore, you're grading off a definition of something accomplishes womanhood. What is that?
I think it's, well, that's a thing too, and I do think that gets a little complicated, right? Because there are social norms for a gender, but I do think we try to break that, right?
No, for sure, but you said that specific friend is more of a woman than you are. Why?
I think she's a better person than me. I think she
so
lives
women are
life.
better people?
she's a better woman than I am. I'm not saying women are better people.
But what makes a woman? Because you said she's more of a woman than you are. So I want to know what that definition is.
Right, okay. I'm gonna let somebody else.
Logic wins again.
You're now a biological male wearing a dress with a pair of leggings. Do you sincerely believe that I should be subject to punitive justice on the basis of what I'm wearing? And if so, are you willing to turn yourself in for wearing women's panties in your gay college film?
Well, I'll take those questions in order, I guess. The first one, I would encourage you to behave as a man, is what I would do, because you are a man, and I don't know how exactly you came to the point where you think you're a woman or very much would like to be a woman, but you aren't. And I don't think anyone who is affirming your delusion is helping you. I don't think that they're actually an ally of yours. And I think it will not lead to your flourishing. I think it will only immiserate you. And so you might hate me for telling you the truth, but I think the truth will set you free. And furthermore, your masquerading as a woman does infringe on the legitimate rights of other people, the rights of women to have their own bathrooms. I don't know if you're an athlete. I'm not much of an athlete myself, but the rights of women to have their own sports leagues and the like. That is not something that you have a right to do, no matter how sincerely you believe the fantasy that you're a woman.
The majority of these people know they are never going to compete in life as a man, so they go for the easy option of living as a woman, where men are expected to go easy on them and protect them.
It's not totally limitless. When you're talking about International Women's Day, I don't know why we take the conversation around International Women's Day and make it about this.
But if anyone,
there's so many benefits.
Right, but if anyone, according to you, can identify as a woman,
I don't see a problem with.
Just literally put their hand up and say I'm a woman.
It's not an easy thing to do, to go out into the world. It's very easy. You might think it's easy to say, but to decide to do that, to say
what
this
does
is
doing
who,
it involve?
Whatever that person decides, but to go out into the world and say I don't identify as perhaps the sex I was born as.
Why can't I identify as a black lesbian?
Well, firstly, I mean, it was.
I'm serious. If I can identify as anything without any need to prove I'm actually what that is, why can't I on International Women's Day say I'm Piers Morgan, I'm a black lesbian?
I think taking it to a kind of absurd twist.
I think that's
talking about quite a
with
strong
respect, I think that
thing.
you'd already opened the absurdity door by saying it is limitless. You can do what you like. Anyone can say I'm a woman. So I simply ask you, why can't I?
I mean, this point kind of ridicules trans people to an extent.
Actually, I think what you...
People born in the early 1900s looking at this generation like, we really went through wars and survived the Great Depression. For this...
What is a woman?
That's a stupid question, dude. That's a dumb question.
It can't answer what a woman is. It's not a trick question. What is a woman?
Who identifies as a woman?
What is that thing? You can't answer the question with the question. Define woman without saying woman. What is a woman? This is not a trick question, everybody. You're in college, paying for an education. What is a woman?
How about you talk to someone with media training?
You don't need media training. It's not a trick. What is a woman? You can't answer the question with the... It's like... The college kids of America going hundreds of thousands of dollars into debt who think it's a trick question when you ask them what a woman is.
Sometimes people are so open-minded that their brains fall out.
But I can't work many hours because of my anxiety.
You have anxiety?
Yes, I do.
What causes anxiety for you?
Lots of things.
Like what, for an example?
Anything that doesn't agree with me, basically, or see things the way I do and see the good in things. That I just think that society is lost and just a bunch of hateful bullies.
He's turned you into a woman.
I am not a woman, Jesse.
Yeah, you act like one because you're afraid. You're beta.
No, you're a beta.
No. You're a beta, Michael.
No,
beta.
You are a beta. I am a normal man. You're a beta man.
No, you're not normal. I could think of many words to call you. Normal is not one.
I'm putting this on the bully list.
He doesn't have anxiety. He's a spoiled brat. He's an adult child with the emotional maturity of a 12-year-old.
What you are saying contributes to systemic racism in this country. It means that my students of color are pulled over and accused of stealing a car when they did not.
I'm not pulling anybody over for stealing any cars. I see many people of many different races in this room. They all seem to be doing just fine. I don't think any of them have felt violence because they listened to a lecture on basic facts about our immigration system. The question was, have I asked people in this room if they've felt as though some violence has been committed on them? No, I haven't asked, because no violence has been committed on you. Because violence is not a subjective feeling. Violence is an objective fact. And I would say to you, as a faculty member at a taxpayer-funded university, this is the foundation of liberal education. If you cannot understand that there is a difference between speech and violence, you don't understand anything that undergirds the liberal arts or liberal education. And that is a real shame. If our teachers don't understand the difference between ideas and violence, between speech and violence, then they are in no position to educate the next generation of Americans.
And if she's a lecturer calling speech violent, then her students have a right to sue her because they could be violated by her. It has honestly evolved into comedy at this point, and the professor was just having a time of his life.
Entirely, and so I'm going to ask you a question about that, but prior to that, I want to just state that for 5,000 years BC, Gala transcribed and androgynous trans priests of Sumerian goddesses have been around and noted. 200 to 300 years before Christ, in ancient Greece, there were gods worshipped by Gali priests who wore feminine attire and identified as women. Since we are standing on Anishinaabe land, Turtle Island, which is the nation that we live under, has
I don't live under Turtle
people.
Island.
Right, well, maybe you should read a little more Indigenous knowledge books. Indigenous communities have used two-spirit personas for the entirety of their culture, and so that leads me to my question. When you say that transgenderism must be eradicated from public life entirely, I ask you, Mr. Knowles, how can we eradicate something that has been here as long as humans have?
Well, yeah, there have been all sorts of crazy, terrible ideas for a very long time, too. You're pointing to civilizations that committed human sacrifice, okay? You're saying that some ancient pagan tribe worshipped demons and therefore we need to castrate children. That's not a good argument. Yes, that's true. There were all sorts of terrible tribes. In fact, as recently as a little over 500 years ago, the Aztecs here in the Western Hemisphere slaughtered 80,000 people in a sacrifice to one of the demons that they worshipped within the span of 4 days. That's not a recommendation of doing that. I don't think that we ought to consider it. Though, unfortunately, in our increasingly pagan and liberal culture, we do commit human sacrifice to the tune of 800,000 babies a year sacrificed through abortion, and it would make the Aztec...
It would suck to do all that research, write notes, and wake up that early just to be proven wrong.
I believe that the Constitution is the best document in political history.
Greatest political document.
There you go.
Thank you.
I want to know, how is it possible to believe that when it's based on racist principles? They describe indigenous peoples as merciless and savages. They don't describe African Americans as full people, and they don't even recognize other people of color and other minorities that we see today. So I just want to know how you think it's possible to believe that's such a great document.
Thank you for the question. Where does it say that in the document? No, keeper. Where does it say that in the document?
I'm sorry, what?
Where does it say what you said in the actual document?
I'm not entirely sure.
It doesn't.
No.
More proof that people will believe anything they hear and read without any proof to back it up.
There's evidence of people who were transgender in ancient Greece, Rome. Judaism is an example of a religion that acknowledges, I think, 6 or 7 genders.
I don't think that's quite true. And my evidence for that would be in the very first book of the Torah, in Genesis. One of the most prominent lines is that in the beginning, God created man, both male and female created he them.
They try so hard to make it make sense, and it never will.
Ma'am, or sir, I'm not sure. I didn't misgender you, did I?
Oh, please stop.
Oh, that's not very ladylike.
Oh, now you're misgendering me. Ladylike.
Oh, well, what are you exactly?
None of your business. What are you?
But you said I misgendered you. If I don't know what you are, how can I not misgender you?
Gets mad about being misgendered, but gets mad when someone asks their gender.
Why did I keep the kid? I should have
believe you, broad. We don't believe you.
You don't have to believe me. Judge will.
Nobody
You don't
does,
have to, because you are
lying sack of
nobody.
Human dog shit.
You are shit. You are disgusting. I didn't like you from the first time I saw you. Because you hate women.
Out of here.
You hate women. You understand?
Hey, guys.
You have no respect for women. That's why you're here arguing right now.
You respect
women. As I brought up the video, you told me to leave.
Women.
Child, you Andrew. It's Mother's Day. How do you like that? You your kid. Happy Mother's Day. And the woman next to you, she agrees with me. How does that make you feel? How does that make the entire CCP feel that you're down here getting impregnated and murdering your offspring? How does that make you feel, ladies? Does that make you feel good?
That Happy Mother's Day murderer is the first time I've seen a kill shot executed on a podcast.
So, thinking back to when I was 16 in an anatomy class, when I learned that transgender people tend to have the brain structure that confirms their identity that they identify with. And you can look that up. That's a fact.
I will look that up.
Yeah, it's a fact.
I will look that up, but I won't find it.
Yeah.
It's not a fact.
Oh.
It's not a fact.
Should we all pull out Google really quick and look?
So you're saying a trans man has the brain of a woman?
No. I'm saying that a trans man who identifies as a man will tend to have similar brain structure that a cis man would.
And where did you get that from?
Look it up. It's literally, I'm telling you, I learned it from my anatomy class when I was 16. And I looked up the fact before I walked up here because I knew that you would ask.
Okay. That's not true, but it also doesn't answer the question. So let's try to stay focused on one false claim at a time if we can.
Let's face it, as soon as these people open their mouths, they have already lost the argument.
I'm a mathematician and a physicist. You cannot tell me.
So I have a question.
And also, you're not a biologist.
So I have a question.
I'm 20.
As a mathematician and a physicist, what in the hell do you know about human biology?
And you got your law degree from Harvard. What do you know about biology? You got your law degree from Harvard.
And frankly, I would ask another question. If your logic is so flawed as a mathematician and a physicist, I would suggest that whichever institution gave you an award, revoke it immediately.
There's a popular saying that school doesn't make you smart, it makes you educated, and there are a lot of educated fools.
Does white privilege exist?
Yeah, I think it could in some aspects.
Do you pay reparations?
Oh, yes. It's like, well, the black community is very important. It's part of the U.S.
Okay, well, we're going to give you an opportunity here. Topher, part of the black community.
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Declan.
You say you would support black reparations, right? Personally, right?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
So would you give me $20 for lunch?
Yeah, sure. If I had it on me, I don't have money on me.
I appreciate you. Yeah. We don't need it, man. You know, a lot of times people, especially with the federal government and what is already done,
right?
You know, as black people, I really don't trust the government. So I don't think reparations are a good thing.
Okay.
Because you're going to have to tax people.
Right,
now you got to dictate who you're going to tax, right?
Yeah.
And now you got to dictate and find out who actually came from ancestors of slaves, right?
Very muddy, yeah, I can see.
And you know, white people were slaves too, right?
Right, yeah.
So now you got to pay white people.
Yeah.
How about we all just contribute that to the freedom that we have in America? We've sown all that effort, all that into what makes America today, right?
Right, yeah, that makes sense.
No reparations.
Yep.
This kid will agree with whatever the people around him are saying, easily molded and manipulated. College professors have so much power.
Are you saying that men should not be allowed to have Barbie dolls?
I did not say that whatsoever, but I'm saying there's certain character attributes and traits of how young men should be raised and how young ladies should be raised.
You are defining that women should be raised in one way and men should be raised in another.
Without a shadow of a doubt, yes. Men are better at some things than women, and women are better at some things than men.
What things are men better at?
Lifting heavy objects. Women are better caretakers and nurturers. Women are more organized.
I'm sorry, say that again?
That men are usually stronger physically than women. That is true.
How is that naturally better then? Like,
I'm not saying better. I'm not saying one sex or gender is better than the other. They're different.
I can see your point. I can see that men do have more testosterone.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm saying. So there's differences.
Yes, but
therefore men are better at certain things than women, and women are better at certain things than men.
I never get tired of the dumbfounded look on liberal students' faces when they start to realize they aren't winning a debate.
You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing them.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So
pregnant.
you are denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this?
We have a good
by
time in my
questioning?
class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Imagine a lecturer who views logical questions as transphobic. What even can her students learn? I'm such an environment.
Victim groups like these people. I know you're so oppressed, my dears. I know life is so hard for you. You have to live in the richest, most equitable, most just country in the history of the world. You have to get a college education. You have to voluntarily go to lectures. It's so awful. I can't imagine. The people who are in war-torn nations, they must truly pity you. Goodbye. Goodbye then.
I hope they are actually leaving to go get a bath.
Okay, is it okay if I touch you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay if I touch you.
Go right ahead.
Before we get started, do you mind if I touch you?
I'm also gonna cut my fucking hair.
Do you mind if I touch you?
Are you serious, bro? Just cut my hair.
Is it cool if I touch you?
Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, cool.
It's usually just customary that I ask the person before I touch them.
Just cut it, cuz.
And what were your pronouns?
She, they.
She, they too.
Yay!
Look at us, we're twins.
He, him.
She, her.
And what are your pronouns?
Are you serious, bro? Just cut my hair.
What are your pronouns? They, them. She, they. I'm glad we exchanged those. Yes.
At this point, woke just means overly needy attention seeker, because if any hairdresser asked me such questions, I'd leave.
So you actually started by saying that blocking puberty, which is chemical castration of a child,
Just one example, yeah.
yeah, is life-saving.
It can be.
How do you know?
Because there are children who have been suicidal that have had these interventions made.
What children? How do you know? And how many children have had that done
Me personally,
and then
I
are
haven't
still
met
suicidal?
children. Me personally, I haven't met enough trans children to answer that question.
Okay.
But I know
You
that
are
the research exists.
You're making this statement, you're stating it as a fact in front of all these people. There must be a reason, there must be something that you encountered that led you to this rather radical conclusion that to save a child's life, you have to chemically castrate him.
Not every child. No, sir.
Okay, well that is what you just said. The drugs we give to kids for puberty blockers, so-called puberty blockers, originally are cancer drugs used to treat prostate cancer. They're also used to chemically castrate sex offenders and child rapists. Now we give them to physically healthy kids. You're saying that we need to do that or they will die. And so one last time I'm going to ask you, what evidence do you have of that remarkable claim?
I don't think I claimed that every child would benefit from that.
Well, no, I didn't say you did.
Okay,
You
well,
said
no,
puberty
you
blockers
did.
are.
You did.
You said puberty blockers are life-saving. What evidence do you have for that?
They can be. The
how do you
evidence
know?
is the encounters with patients who have had these procedures done, and it has saved their, I don't want to say it saved their lives, but it has made their lives better. I can't confirm whether or not they're alive right this second, but there are children that it has helped. So what do you have to say for the happy trans community who has benefited from these procedures? That's my question
I guess what I have
for you.
to say is that your entire question is built on a whole stack of false premises that you can't begin to even remotely defend. So it's a faulty question from the start. I reject your premise. I absolutely reject that there are any kids who need to be chemically castrated in order to be happy.
Okay, let's...
She heard it on Facebook or somewhere, and now it's fact. This is where many people get their facts and beliefs from. Crazy. Sir, you have the girliest scream ever.
Well, man. So in the earliest chapters of Genesis, you have the creation of man in Adam. And then Eve is created from Adam's rib, but she would be the other sex. What you're citing is this line that a lot of people who are pro-transgender will say, which is, actually in some Native American tribe that I can't quite name right now, I'm sure they believe in a third and a fourth and a fifth gender, but that just isn't true. That is that's been made up by white liberals.
You know the movie Mulan, Disney Mulan?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Mulan, dresses as a man, right, goes to war. That's based off of true history.
Oh yes, cross-dressing has occurred in history.
Not just cross-dressing, but people who
in Mulan, did the female character think she was a man?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't get why she thought Mulan would be a good argument.
I have a friend who has a trans kid. He's explained that, my child from a very young age consistently said, I am a girl, never changed their mind. And so the humane thing and the thing that he felt was good to do as a parent was to embrace that choice. I shouldn't even phrase it as a choice, embrace that identity.
But it is a choice, right? You're choosing to add hormones to a child's body.
It's a choice it's a choice on the part of the parent.
Okay, but if that's who they are, if they think that they're a girl, why do you have to give them hormones to make them more of a girl?
Because I'm sorry, can you expand on the question?
It's a simple question. If the child thinks it's a girl, let it be a girl. Why are you adding hormones? You're choosing to inject things into this child's body on a regular basis that are going to radically affect the physical development of their body.
Yeah.
And you're saying that this isn't a choice. Well, it's definitely a choice to do that.
Gotta love a logical question, the easiest way to shut down a ridiculous argument.
So how would you define female?
Through my training in healthcare, there are several different categories for how we define sex. People bring up chromosomes. People also bring up hormone levels. People bring up all sorts of other categories. Lots of people don't fit neatly into a gender binary, even people we don't consider to be intersex. It's a complicated spectrum.
It's not complicated, but you also didn't define. So what is a woman? What is a female? What do these words mean?
It's complicated, and I know you're not going to like that answer, but that's because there are no simple answers in human biology.
It is absolutely ridiculous that we as a civilization have arrived to the point that a conference has to be held to explain this.
Do you believe in the climate crisis?
Yes.
Well, the animal agriculture, farming and fishing is a leading cause of the climate crisis.
You know what's also a leading cause of climate crisis? Planes which carry vast amounts of your avocados and your almonds from California and fly them thousands of miles to your table here in your vegan cafes. And then they also go in trucks. And that is an environmental hazard too. So you're not only are you killing billions of bees, you're destroying the planet. And yet you have the brass neck to sit here in between munching your almonds and your avocados and start preaching to me about how virtuous you are about not killing animals.
I swear this lady is one step away from shedding tears.
Let's talk to somebody who spent Valentine's Day alone. Let's see. Virgo men are the worst. You know what's funny about this? Before I even defend myself, I don't even care. I don't even believe in this shit, but I can't let it slide, okay? Virgo men and Aquarius men. You're Aquarius? Oh, I thought you were annoying. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought, that's my bad. Why do you think Virgo men are the worst though? You don't fuck with them? Look, I would fuck you. I haven't washed my hands since petting a dog. I don't want to do that to you. It smells like an Aquarius.
That wasn't a roast, that was a barbecue. If you got to the end of this video, you're another step closer to being unwoke, and you deserve a big thumbs. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next one.